All right, well, thank you for being here. I'm Anne Arundel County Executive Stuart Pittman, and we're here to talk about eviction. And I want to start just by giving a little bit of a context in our county. Maybe I'll wait for the siren to go by. But before this pandemic came to Anne Arundel County, we knew that half of our renters were paying more than a third of their income on their rent. That means that they were officially cost burdened, living paycheck to paycheck and at risk of financial ruin. In just a 3-year period of economic growth from 2015 to 18, the percentage of our population who work but are barely able to pay monthly bills, the ALICE population, they're often referred to as, grew from 1/4 to 1/3 of our neighbors. These are the people who keep our local businesses afloat and deliver the quality of life that we all enjoy. The foundation of our service economy, the restaurant workers, the landscape workers, the retail workers, the janitorial workers, and even many of the public servants. Federal, state, and even county government has subscribed for too long to trickle-down economic theories that don't generate even a trickle for the people on the ground. Rather than investing in the foundation of our economy, the people who do the work, we have invested in the people who own the stock with subsidies, tax cuts, and even in this pandemic, billions of dollars in aid. During this pandemic, the federal government and the state of Maryland have done too little to protect the people whose lives are unraveling as we stand here in front of this courthouse. In Anne Arundel County, when this pandemic hit, we listened to our residents, to our most vulnerable residents. We have invested in our people, in food, health, and shelter. And the topic of today's announcement is shelter. When the pandemic hit, by April, our Anne Arundel Community Development Services had come to us with a plan for an eviction prevention program. This was before the CARES Act, before we had any outside assistance, and we cobbled together $1 million from our casino money and general funds and community development block grant funds to start this program, to hire the counselors and start providing financial assistance for rent. The money went directly to the landlords paying the rent. We don't see the landlords as the bad guys in this. We see them as part of our system that provides affordable housing to our residents. We partnered with Lighthouse Shelter, Partnership for Children, Youth, and Families, community action agencies, hired staff, raised the funding to an additional $3.6 million with CARES Act money, so it's close to $5 million. 544 landlords have received assistance, 1,500 calls, and our team is continuing to do the counseling, the difficult counseling that it takes to manage this crisis. A few examples of how it's worked. If you think about it, if you were a counselor and somebody called you and said that they couldn't pay their rent and they needed assistance, it's not just paying their rent. So what our counselors do is they connect them to other services as well. They gave me some examples. Most of them are people who are working 60+ hours a week. A dad who was working 60 hours a week doing windshields, but business dropped and he was unable to even provide birthday presents for his kids. So in addition to his financial problems and his inability to cover rent for his family, he was dealing with mental health issues. So of course the counselors connected him with mental health resources. Another 26-year-old single mom was unaware that she could get unemployment insurance when her hours were reduced. And so in addition to helping her with her rent that she'd not been able to pay, they were able to connect her and get her unemployment insurance. And another example was a young mother of 3 kids in a sub shop whose hours were cut was unable to pay rent. Then the hours were increased again, but we were able to help her with that back rent, and that's changed her life so that she is able to spend some time with her kids and have the security, the whole family, the security to know that they're not going to lose their housing as they enter the school year from home. So here we are in a moment where the moratoria that everybody has been depending on are soon to end. The CDC has stepped in and extended things for a while. That ends when things get really cold, which is at the end of the year. And our hope is that the federal government will continue to help. But so far, we've been disappointed. So we don't know what the fall will bring. We don't know what the winter will bring for these renters. So now we feel the need for education and legal assistance for these renters as they look to this fall time of uncertainty. So our community development services once again has stepped up, and Kathy Koch is going to come up and describe to you what they're going to do. But they've created a program, they've cobbled together our partners to create Operation Eviction Intervention. So we have with us, in addition to Kathy, Community Legal Services as a partner, Fair Housing Action Center as a new partner, Legal Aid and their self-help centers that are at the district courthouse, and Arundel Conflict Resolution Center. And then we're also beefing up our own staffing at Community Development Services with the addition of Lisa Sorrow, who is formerly the supervising attorney for Anne Arundel County Office of Legal Aid. So I'm going to turn it over to Kathy now to introduce some of these folks and talk about the details of how we are going to intervene to help these renters. But I have to say that in a time like this, government must protect its residents, and that's what we are doing here. And we must deliver justice for all. And that's why we're at the courthouse.
Thank you, County Executive. As the County Executive said, we are so proud of the fact that Anne Arundel County were some of the first ones out of the gate, not only in the state of Maryland, but probably in the country with its eviction prevention and its rental assistance program. So, in helping those households that were negatively affected by COVID-19. So we are happy today to be announcing this new level of assistance to enhance and better serve those people in need in our county. Today we are announcing the addition of legal services, as our County Executive explained, to our programs that's going to provide a holistic approach to the current economic condition. The holistic response includes adding an experienced attorney to our team, a contract with our Community Legal Services Incorporated, who will provide legal representation. I'm really excited about this. We're going to enhance our landlord-tenant hotline. Needed to speak louder. Landlord-tenant hotline is going to be provided by our Fair Housing Action Center of Maryland. Our Legal Aid Office, which is crucial to providing services to our very, very low income. And our own Anne Arundel County Conflict Resolution that's going to help us with mediation, that very crucial part of mediation with the landlords to make sure that we got agreement between our tenants and our landlords. So that we can better understand all these services that we are going to be providing, I want to take just a couple minutes and ask each representative to come up and have them explain what part of the continuum of services they're going to be providing to make sure that we, on December 31st, if and when people start to be evicted, we have services in place and we are helping them. So, and also not only in addition to these legal services, we continue to provide financial assistance to tenants to help them pay their rent. So we think between all these services, we are providing a good continuum of services. And I'm going to start out, I'd like to first start out with our newly hired legal counsel, a real expert And I say every time I listen to her, I learn something new because I wasn't that smart thank God, about the eviction process until we got to this point. And I learned something new, and so I'm very excited to have her joining our team, and that's Lisa Saros. If she'll come up and tell us about her role.
Pull this down just a little. Good morning, everyone. As Kathy said, my name is Lisa Sorrow, and I am so thrilled to be starting this new position as General Counsel for ACDS. In my role as the General Counsel for ACDS, I will be working with staff within ACDS, the caseworkers, the amazing caseworkers that are on the front lines helping people to make their rent and figure out what other resources that those folks need. I will be helping the caseworkers to evaluate the legal positions of folks coming through to ensure that ACDS and the county are using their rent relief money wisely and not spending more than we need to keep people housed, given limited funds that we have. I will, in the same vein, be working with landlords to ensure that they're educated about the program, to make sure that they're willing participants in the program, so that they know that this is a good thing, that they're going to get some money if they participate, and if they agree to keep people housed after we provide them with some rent relief assistance. To the extent that clients have legitimate legal defenses, we'll identify those defenses and get them off to the proper resources, whether it's self-help assistance or mediation services if we can't reach an agreement with the landlord, or if they need actual representation, we'll get them to the right resources through Community Legal Services or Maryland Legal Aid. And finally, the other thing I will be doing is providing outreach and education to the community to ensure that people know what protections are coming along as they're coming along, because things are happening so quickly. Along those lines, hopefully someone is going to ask me about the CDC moratorium during the Q&A so that I can share some information and ask that you share it far and wide. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Glad to have you. I'm really excited about the Community Legal Services joining our team. And I'm going to say, I have a hard enough time pronouncing my own name, so I'm going to do my best to pronounce everybody's name. Jessica Kinkosa. Okay, and really, this is a service that we've looked at before, and this addition to Anne Arundel County Services is very exciting.
Good morning. I'm Robin Dorsey, the Fair Housing Director for the Fair Housing Action Center of Maryland, or FHAC. FHAC works to ensure every Marylander has access to safe, affordable housing, free from discrimination, harassment, and code violations. FHAC is a program of the Maryland Consumer Rights Coalition, or MCRC, and MCRC advances economic justice and financial inclusion through direct service, research, organizing, education, and advocacy. The twin crises of COVID-19 and the economic fallout from the layoffs and furloughs resulting from the pandemic are having a devastating impact in Anne Arundel County and throughout the state. FHAC is excited to be partnering with Anne Arundel County to bring critical services to residents during this challenging time. If you are having a housing problem, we can help. Our tenant advocates will provide you with advice and information about your rights. We can serve as mediators with your landlord and give you referrals to legal service providers, many of which are standing behind me. Also housing counselors and other nonprofit services. We provide in-depth assistance with a variety of problems and tenant issues like lead paint, rent escrow, security deposits, denial of essential services like electricity, heat, or water, and code enforcement issues like licenses and inspections. If you are not able to pay rent because of the pandemic, we can assist you in filing a declaration under the CDC's Eviction Moratorium. There are no income requirements for our program. We know many tenants who are earning a middle-class income and have been laid off are now struggling to remain in their home, but have fewer avenues for assistance because they are above income guidelines for some organizations, not us. FHAC is here to help you regardless of your income. We are also available to help landlords who may have questions about their responsibilities under the law or need mediation with tenants. You can get help by going to our website, www.fairhousingmd.org, and clicking Ask a Housing Question, or by calling our helpline on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and that number is 443-447-7336. Again, 443-447-7336. Thank you. We're so glad to be part of this program.
Thank you, Robin. Hopefully you got that number. That is the hotline if you just want to ask questions and know where to go. That's an important place to be. Now I'd like to introduce our local partners, our legal aid office. And I'm sorry, I'm just not going to even try to say, I'm going to ask you to come up and say your name. But this is an office that really is important to us and really serves a very, very low income and plays an important role.
Good morning. My name is Chijioke Akamibo, and I'm a Deputy Chief Counsel for Maryland Legal Aid. It is exciting to be here this morning among individuals and groups who are dedicated to preserving stable and affordable housing for the residents of Anne Arundel County and throughout Maryland. Thank you to Mr. Pittman and the Anne Arundel County Office of the County Executive and to Arundel Community Development Services for their work in funding and administering the County Executive's Community Support Grants Program, and for entrusting Maryland Legal Aid as one of the recipients of this grant. Last year, Maryland Legal Aid served more than 22,000 Anne Arundel County residents, many of whom we assisted with housing-related cases. This year, the COVID-19 health crisis has and will continue to create additional challenges for low-income residents as they navigate rising unemployment and the likelihood of eviction. Maryland Legal Aid and legal services providers nationwide are in the thick of assisting clients who have been hit hardest by the financial fallout of the pandemic. The county's provision of these funds will help Maryland Legal Aid ensure it continues to provide the highest level of civil legal services to preserve housing for the most vulnerable and marginalized residents of Anne Arundel County. Individuals in need of help for their civil legal issues, including those facing eviction from their homes, can contact Maryland Legal Aid by calling 410-951-777 or through our website, mdlab.org. People can also come in person during designated walk-in intake hours. Each of Maryland Legal Aid's 12 statewide offices, including our Anne Arundel County office here in Annapolis, is fully operational and ready to assist eligible clients. Individuals can also seek legal advice and information through any of the 6 district court self-help centers, including a walk-in location at the district court in Glen Burnie. These district court self-help centers are operated by Maryland Legal Aid's wholly owned subsidiary, the Maryland Center for Legal Assistance. You could also call the call center at the self-help centers between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., and that phone number is 410-260-1392. Since July 1 of this year, the Maryland Center for Legal Assistance has assisted more than 4,000 Anne Arundel County residents, including 540 assisted with landlord-tenant matters. Maryland Legal Aid is sincerely grateful to the Anne Arundel County Office of the County Executive for recognizing the importance of civil legal aid and the impact that Maryland Legal Aid's work has on low-income residents. We'd like to take this opportunity to encourage anyone that's facing eviction or think that they might be facing eviction in the near future to please reach out to one of the legal service providers or one of our self-help centers, and we'll do our best to find representation or to give self-help advice. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and certainly our last one, but certainly not our least one, is my partner down the hallway, is our wonderful organization of Anne Arundel Conflict Resolution. And we have here Georgia Nunchero, and I think Rachel Bauer is also going to speak. So.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here and for being our partner. My name is Rachel Brower. I'm with the Arundel Conflict Resolution Center. We offer free mediation, specifically landlord-tenant mediations, in hopes to minimize evictions for Anne Arundel County residents. Mediation is a mutually beneficial opportunity for landlords and tenants to have a conversation around their conflict without spending additional money on attorneys or waiting a long time for a court date or spending money on filing fees. All participants have the opportunity to creatively resolve their dispute and collaboratively brainstorm solutions that work for everyone. Common topics we see are rent, back rent, security deposits, but people can have a conversation around anything that they want concerning their housing. So like pets, noise, housekeeping, anything that they want. In a recent case we mediated, the participant was very severely behind on their rent, and they were able to come up with a payment plan that was financially feasible for them, and the landlord didn't have to evict them and cause someone to experience houselessness. This service is an invaluable resource, we believe it is, for the community to prevent evictions and increase the safety and comfortability of residents in our community. Anyone can open up a case. They just have to call our office at 410-266-9033. And all of our services are available virtually 7 days a week, including evenings. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to all our partners. Thank you to our county executive for allowing us to helping us put this all together. And please, for all this information, it's going to be up on our website, ACDS's website, very soon, so that you'll have all the numbers that you can call. So if you are having trouble paying your rent, we keep saying this, if you're having problems, if you have an eviction notice on your door, contact us, go to our website, and we'll help you figure out where you need to go to make sure you stay housed. Our goal is to keep everybody housed. And did our county exec want to say anything else? Thank you.
Just to ask if there are questions. Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Danielle, I'll keep my mask on.
Okay.
Danielle from Capital. So, is this a program whereby the county is providing money to the various partners? And if so, how much and where is that money?
It's CARES money. So yes, we are helping financially with each of these partners. I'm sure they're using their own resources as well. And Kathy Koch can get you all the details if you want them on each organization and how that works. Yeah. We're using CARES funds for this. Yeah. Yep.
There's different dollar amounts, and I'll give them to you for each one.
Anybody else? I have one. Because Lisa Sorrow asked to be asked the question, and my question is, how does the CDC moratorium work, and is it going to be useful, and how do people take advantage of it?
Funny you should ask that question. Thank you so much. So everybody has probably heard by now about the CDC moratorium on evictions. The CDC issued this moratorium on September 1st. It went into effect on September 4th. It applies to all housing, whereas the prior moratorium only affected housing that had some connection to the federal government. This covers all housing, publicly subsidized housing, Section 8, and private housing, all rental housing it applies to. We're not entirely sure how the courts in Maryland are going to apply the CDC declaration or the moratorium. There is a declaration that the CDC has put out that all residents can sign that indicates that they've got a problem paying their rent, that they're trying their best, that they've tried to get assistance, and are still working on it. And if they give that declaration to their landlord, they cannot be evicted prior to January 1, 2020, or 2021. So it does buy them some time. There is no money attached to the CDC moratorium. So it just really postpones what might be the inevitable. But what we're hoping to do during these next 3 months is locate those folks who we can help with rental assistance and hopefully prevent their eviction January 1. As for the courts, what the courts in Maryland have said they will be doing is if a resident raises the declaration at a failure to pay rent hearing, the court will listen to the declaration. The landlord may have an opportunity to challenge what the resident has indicated in the declaration. So the judge will be making a determination as to whether the CDC moratorium applies to that renter. And if so, they will go forward. But they will not be entering judgments until after the moratorium expires.
Is there a threshold or any kind of minimum standard that you or any of the organizations would advise these potential clients that they meet this where they can assert the declaration?
So most people are going to be eligible to use the CDC declaration. There is an income cap. So it's only applicable for individuals who expect to earn in 2020 up to $99,000 for an individual or $198,000 for a couple living together. If you make more than that, then the CDC moratorium will not apply to you. But it's based on what you expect to make. So folks who have fallen behind on their rent likely will have reduced income for 2020. It'll apply to probably most people in the country. Each individual also on a lease must sign their own declaration. You can add signature lines at the end of the declaration, but I think to be on the safe side, each individual who is named on the lease should sign their own and get that to the landlord. If you have an opportunity to send it return receipt requested, certified return receipt requested, that's the best way to do it, because then you have proof that it was received. The moratorium specifically does not apply to other types of mechanisms for evicting individuals. What we're concerned about seeing is folks filing tenant holding over actions in the place of failure to pay rent cases, and those are things that I think that our legal partners will be looking at as potentially defense. But breach of lease and other reasons for evicting people, that doesn't get covered by the moratorium. Sure. I'm going to let Jessica answer that question because I know she spoke recently to Judge McKenna and has sat in, and we'll have more info for you after next week. But take it away, Jess.
Hi, so our staff attorney who staffs the Prince George's County same-day representation has been in court, so I can talk about what's been happening in Prince George's County, and a lot of tenants have not been appearing in the hearings. I sat in the Anne Arundel County docket in Annapolis about 2 weeks ago, and the cases that were being heard, there weren't tenants appearing. I don't know if that is because the rent has been paid at this point, because these were the pre-COVID cases. And the court is now catching up because failure to pay rent cases just began being scheduled in August. We're hoping to see more tenants appearing on Monday. There's going to be a docket in Glen Burnie starting Monday morning. The scheduling has been a little bit different in the last few months just to make sure that social distancing is complied with in the courthouse. So I don't know if that's part of it too. But really we want tenants to know in order to to be able to use some of these defenses, they really need to be proactive and reach out early. It's much easier to reach out to a legal services provider a few weeks before you have a hearing than the night before. It makes us have more time to be able to discuss options with you and also put you in connection with different resources that can provide you with funding if that's what you really need.
Well, thank you for coming, everybody, and I just want to thank all of you for doing the work that you do. It's going to be a tough 3, 6, whoever knows how long months, but we'll get this done. Thank you.